9 years ago, I came to Pakistan to help my government. And I did so at a time when most Americans would not come here. And now, when I need my government, it seems that I have been totally abandoned. So I again appeal to you to instruct your appropriate officials to negotiate my release.
A U.S. contractor held hostage by Al-Qaeda in Pakistan for more than 2 years is making a direct appeal to President Obama to negotiate his release. Joining us now to talk about this one is Truman National Security Project Fellow Adnan Zulfikar. Adnan, thanks for joining us this morning. I guess the first question is, why is this video surfacing now?
Well, it's not entirely clear why it's surfaced right now, but there are a few different reasons that we could speculate on. The first might be that Al-Qaeda really sees this opportunity in terms of Christmas being a time when maybe they can garner some American public sympathy and possibly get the U.S. government to negotiate with them with regard to this hostage. And you know, sort of holding out that false hope, potentially even connecting it to the fact that there's been this thaw in relations with the U.S. and Iran, that maybe there'll be a thaw with regard to negotiating for this prisoner, which the U.S. government, of course, has said that it refuses to do. The other major development that we have to be mindful of is that about a week ago, the Pakistani military launched a major offensive into North Waziristan, which is where a lot of Al-Qaeda's main fighters are and a lot of foreign fighters are in general, and there is a fair amount of militant activity there. Now, North Waziristan exists in the federally administrated tribal areas, the Fatah region. It is semi-autonomous in Pakistan, and the military doesn't really exert its control much there. So this was a major development. It hasn't happened for a long time, and the military was really responding to a suicide bombing of a checkpoint, and looks like they're about to take the fight to Al-Qaeda. So this may be in response to that, in trying to sort of divert attention and maybe buy themselves a little bit of time.
Yeah. Adnan, Warren Weinstein, the man in question, he was living in Pakistan, working for the U.S. He was a contractor, working for a U.S. company. How dangerous is this situation in Pakistan for foreigners?
Well, you know, it really depends on where you are in Pakistan. In a place like the capital city, Islamabad, it generally has been pretty safe. You have a heavy presence of foreigners there, diplomats, etc. In a place like Lahore, you don't see as many foreigners. You do have businessmen who come through. You have professors, visiting professors from European and American universities that do come through, and various delegations as well, but they're not as publicly visible. The issue with contractors in Pakistan in the last few years has gotten increasingly complicated, and that's because the general Pakistani public has grown skeptical about their role due to a few incidents that have occurred. One with Raymond Davis, the CIA contractor, who was discovered to be a CIA contractor in the city of Lahore after he shot and killed 2 individuals who he said were following him. And then second, because of some reports that have been circulated in the Pakistani press about Blackwater, the private security firm, conducting a series of covert operations within the country. I think this has raised a bit of security concerns for contractors in Pakistan because of the general skepticism about the work that they're doing there.
Yeah, Adnan, does the U.S. do enough to prepare contractors for this kind of work, or what do they do to prepare contractors for this kind of work?
Well, generally, you know, contractors and the firms that they end up being employed by do go through a process of understanding the security concerns within a particular country, knowing what type of precautions to take, and oftentimes in certain cities, Islamabad, etc., you know, there will be areas that they will generally stick to, places where they'll end up you know, visiting, and other places where they may not. And so there wasn't anything necessarily to suggest suggest that, Mr. Weinstein, when he was picked up 2 years ago, that he was going to be picked up. He had been there for a while. He'd been operating in Pakistan, doing work with USAID, etc. So, this type of incident, I know that there are protocols in place and sort of instructions for contractors, but unfortunately, you can't always account for every contingency.
Yeah. All right, Adnan Zulfikar, Truman National Security Project. Thank you for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having me.